All right, day number 26, Las Vegas. Who remembers when the Voss waters were only glass, right? They came out with the plastic because, number one, it's a little cheaper, and number two, these were a safety concern in some venues. People have been known to get clubbed with these things before. So whenever you find like an old school glass Voss, there's like nothing better. This is like the epitome of class. I think I found a new hack, by the way, or at least it's new to me. I've been eating at lounges during this trip, and I've never really mentioned it before. I think that it is a really fantastic way to save money. You know, if you want to go to a really cool lounge, like Click over at Cosmo, Foundation Room here, Skyfall, which is not cool, but it's still a lounge. You know, a lot of these ultra lounges have food. I think compared to restaurant prices and considering the portions you get, I think it's a fantastic value. Like, I had a Wagyu burger last night that was decently sized. I'd say it was 7-8 ounces, and it was $22. Now, two caveats. It probably had about 1% Wagyu in it because I did not taste any Wagyu at all. And number two, it wasn't the best burger I ever had. But to eat at one of the coolest lounges, and sometimes arguably the coolest Sky Lounge in Las Vegas, and get a decently sized burger for $22, where else can you get that kind of meal and experience? You can't. I think the charcuterie was upper 20s. This is just off the top of my head. But all I had was the charcuterie and then the burger, which I ate half of. And I got filled for like $50, right? So if you don't want to go do a high-end dinner, but you still want to eat at a high-end place and have some above-average food, if not borderline fine dining food, head to an ultra lounge. I think the food at Click is amazing. I think that the food at Foundation Room is really good. I'm going to go to S-Bar tonight and check that food out. But yeah, I think that's a big hack. If you just want to kind of skip all the pomp and circumstance and time it takes to sit down, go to an ultra lounge and just order a la carte off the small bites menu. I think it's a fantastic way to fill yourself in a really cool environment and kind of spend the evening in Las Vegas. So I've been quite productive this morning. I woke up and I did something that I've never done before. I talked about Mandalay Bay being one of my first loves, and I've stayed here more than a handful of times over the years. Haven't been back to the property for a while. I did stay at Delano, a year and a half ago. However, I haven't been back to Mandalay Bay for a while, and I must say the property has aged very well. I think that if this property was mid-strip, this would be one of the best hotels in Las Vegas. I think that it would rival like a Caesar's Palace. That's what it kind of reminds me of, where it's classy, it's luxurious, it's upscale. You're not going to have the luxury of Wynn, Venetian, Palazzo, but still classy, still luxurious. Just not that ultimate luxury. The only thing that is kind of a setback and drawback for this place is its location. The location's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like the worst location on the Strip. If I was going to be isolated on the Strip, I'd much rather be isolated on the North End, Resort World, than I would be on the South End down here. To me, all the best properties are down at the North End. I'm not going to go down that road. You know exactly how I feel. I've talked about it ad nauseum. This is not my favorite area up here. However, like I can see what MGM is doing. They are investing hard up here. I mean, you have Allegiant Stadium, you have T-Mobile, and they're kind of building like that park area up, and all the MGM hotels are kind of connected and kind of situated up here. What it's really turning into is Caesars Mid-Strip, MGM South Strip, and then the luxury hotels, the elites down in the North Strip. So it's kind of fascinating how the Strip is kind of shaking and settling and kind of cementing itself. All right, to get back on track, I did something today that I've never done before. I have stayed at this property multiple times, but I've never done this. I have never been to the Reef, Shark Tank, whatever it's called. I went there for the first time today, and I definitely have some thoughts on it. First of all, I can see why I've never been to it, because it is at the very, very end of the property. Like, it's isolated. You literally have to walk the entire property, and it's all the way in the back. Like, I rarely even make it to the food court back there. In fact, I've never made it to the food court, and it's even past the food court. So I could see why I've never been there, because you just don't casually stroll by the place. You really need a definitive reason to go all the way up there, and that is to go to the Shark Tank. But I must say, I'm really glad that I went. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was relaxing. It was nice to get, I'm going to call it some nature, some aquatics. You know, Mandalay Bay does have like a water aquatic type theme. And it was nice to get that. You know, sometimes there's just so much information overload. There's too much sensory overload in Las Vegas. There's too many flashing lights, beeping slot machines, cards shuffling together, music, just too much everything. I like the Shark Tank. It was really cool to see several different species of sharks. They just didn't have one, they had several. And although I did not pay attention to a lot of the different species, it was like a zoo where they had them posted and they had them separated. So if you really are a nature person or a zoo person or an animal person, they do have all the species listed for you. They give you a little bit of a description and then they have them showcased in there. And I thought it was really, really well done. Again, I found it soothing. It was a great walk this morning to walk all the way down there. It was just a great way to spend a morning. Now, I must say that it is smaller than what I thought it would be. Like when you read online, I think they say they have like 2,000 different species. If they got 2,000 in there, I'm pretty sure some of them are microscopic because I didn't see 2,000 different species, even of fish. Unless you're taking video like I was, and unless you're trying to really get good shots, if you just kind of want to casually stroll and spend a minute or two at each place, I think you're going to be out of there in like 20 or 30 minutes. So I highly, highly recommend it with a caveat. First of all, if you've never gone, you have to go. I think it really does complete the Mandalay Bay experience. It definitely punctuates it. However, I think you only have to go once. And unless you are bringing a friend and you want to show it to them, or unless you are bringing your children or a family, that's really the only reason to go a second time. So I am really glad that I went. They had a bunch of cool species from a bunch of different types of rays that you could actually touch and pet. They had some really, really exotic rays that kind of had like cool fins. They had jellyfish. They had piranhas. It was really cool, and I'm really glad that I went. But I won't be back for at least another 5 or 10 years unless I take someone there who really wants to go. So I guess in summary, really cool. Glad I went. You got to go if you're a nature, animal, fish, aquatic person. If you're just looking for some stress relief, if you're kind of stressed out by all the Vegas sensations and sensory overload, it's a great way to kind of clear your head. Definitely get there before 11 a.m. If you want to actually take some pictures and some selfies and have some opportunity to kind of have some one-on-one time in front of the window, I could not imagine they're going after 11. I got there, I think, around 10 or 10:30, and I was able to take like a ton of selfies with no one trying to get in right behind me. I had my time, I had my space. No one else was in my shots. I could easily take video of the place without anyone really stepping into my shot. But like I saw it really getting busy like after 11. So again, I think it's perfect for just a morning walk and a morning activity. They got some cool restaurants right next door, so if you want to get a bite to eat afterwards, you could definitely do that. I recommend it. It was $36. It's probably going to take you 30 to 45 minutes, but I recommend you only do it once. Let me know if you've been to the Shark Reef. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you go back regularly, or do you agree with me that it's really a one and done? Drop a comment below. Big night tonight. I'm off to S-Bar. I'll hit you with that update probably tomorrow. Day number 26. Feeling fine, feeling fresh, feeling frisky, feeling footloose and fancy free.